Hello and welcome to our Steam into Star Wars at Home Edition video series. I am Mr. Gross, the librarian at WCHS, and in this show, we have quite the array of guests joining us today to talk about our favorite Star Wars nonfiction books. And so I'm looking forward to a great variety of different books that we can learn more about Star Wars through. And so let me go around and introduce everybody. I will start with introducing WCHS alum, Will Crouch. Welcome, Will.
Hey again, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Great to have you on. And going across my screen, I don't know how everyone else's screen looks, I'm going to introduce our WCHS Book Club Exec Board member and senior at the high school, Rebecca. Rebecca, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And another book club member at WCHS is Clara. Clara, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course, welcome. And I will introduce our community member and Star Wars fan, Kaylee. Kaylee, welcome back.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. And then we have a special guest to the show today. In fact, I'm going to introduce him. I was going to let you do it yourself, but I'm going to do it myself, introduce you. Joining us today to talk about nonfiction books is Star Wars author and contributing writer to StarWars.com and the host of the podcast Coffee with Kenobi. Welcome, Mr. Dan Zehr.
Well, I thought I was trying to order pizza, so I don't know what happened, but hey. Of course, it's a pleasure to speak with all of you fine people. I'm thrilled to be on talk about a topic that is near and dear to my heart.
Very good. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. And let's jump right into it. Clara, I'm going to start with you today because actually I know what your book is, and I'm excited to see what this book looks like and hear why you enjoy it so much. So Clara, kick us off.
All right. Well, this is a book I got a while ago. I never heard of it before I got it, so I'm really happy I got it. It's called Star Wars Galactic Maps. It's a really big book. Written by Emil Fortune and illustrated by Tim McDonough. And basically, it's just a huge atlas of a whole bunch of different planets. And it tells you, like, here's a picture of Dathomir. And it'll tell you different things that happened in different places, like different plot points. And it just has very beautiful illustrations. And like I don't even read the book. I just look at the pictures. It's just so pretty.
And that's what I love about nonfiction books. Sometimes it's all about the pictures. That is such a cool book. I'd forgotten that I have seen that book before, but that is so cool. I'm so glad that you brought that on to talk about. All right, let's see. Hey, Will, why don't you share with us your book?
Yeah, sure thing. So today I brought a Del Rey book. This comes from the distant year of 2012. This is Star Wars, the Essential Guide to Warfare by Jason Fry and Paul R. Urquhart. I apologize to that last name. But yeah, as Clara said, it is a lot about the art, but this book is also beautiful in the way that it reads like a history book. It reads of almost every great conflict in the galaxy, in the past, the present, the future, things that aren't even necessarily in the canon right now. We're talking Dark Empire, Old Republic, the Yuuzhan Vong, if you want to take that pull out of the ether, and get great personal accounts from different characters that are written in to kind of build up the energy of this world to really make Star Wars feel lived in again. For example, you get this really, really scary kind of sad story of the terror, the fury, the anger, and the muscles of the Ewoks on the poor stormtroopers on the Battle of Endor. It is They make it sound like it is a nightmare, and the way they describe it kind of is, and it really kind of sold me into just how well they build the world in this book. So do recommend. 10 out of 10.
Excellent recommendation. Thank you, Will. Kaylee, how about your favorite nonfiction book from Star Wars, or one of your favorites?
Yeah, the book that I have is The Star Wars Maker Lab by Liz Heinecke and Cole Horton. I really like this book because there are so many different projects that you can do in it, and some of them are harder, some of them are easier. So it's great for all ages, and I like how it's fun and it has science in it. So it's really fun crafts and it relates back to Star Wars too. So yeah, I really like this book.
Awesome. I love that book as well.
Yeah.
And one thing I like that you brought that book to our attention is STEAM into Star Wars. STEAM is an acronym for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And then, of course, with STEAM into Star Wars, we also throw in the reading aspect, which is why we're talking about books this week. But it is a great book to bring in that science and, in some cases, technology, and then the arts and crafts are in there as well. That's a great choice. And thank you so much, Kaylee, for sharing that book with us.
Yeah.
Rebecca, let's hear about your favorite nonfiction Star Wars book.
So the one that I had picked out, I think there's a more updated version of it now, but the one that my family has is from 2011. It's the DK Star Wars Character Encyclopedia. I just thought it's really interesting. I like how it kind of has like a little briefing of like all sorts of characters. So everybody from clone commanders all the way to like Yoda and like really obscure Jedi masters. I just thought it's really interesting.
I do like those encyclopedia books. They're must-haves for any Star Wars fans book collection. The art in those is pretty good. Is not pretty good. Is great as well in some of those. All right. I'm going to share my book, and then we're saving the grand finale for Mr. Zehr. I can't wait to hear about his book. But the book that I chose for as one of my favorite Star Wars nonfiction books is The Women of the Galaxy book by Amy Ratcliffe. I think this is such a cool book, and it highlights all of the, as the title implies, all of the galaxy. And one of the things I love about this book, besides the fact that it is just informative on all of these characters and these great, powerful characters, is, as you saw in the pictures I was showing, we have some really great art that goes into it. And also the writing of each character is really concise. So you can sit down with this book. If you've got 15 minutes, you could get through and read. In fact, I think the longest description of any character, I'm looking at Harrison Dula here, and she's got about 4 pages of text for her. There's IDO, who we talk about on one of our other videos when we're talking about Operation Cinder. But I think this is a really fun book to read. Like I said, it's short and concise that you can read bits and pieces. You could use it in an encyclopedic kind of way. If you come across a character that you maybe don't know very well, you could go and check that character out in this book. So Women of Galaxy by Amy Ratcliffe, highly recommend. So our final nonfiction book, we're going to go to Mr. Zehr. And what book did you choose, Mr. Zehr, to talk about for nonfiction?
So obviously it would be easy for me to pick the Star Wars book because I know the authors who wrote it, including me. But I'm not. I'm actually going to go legitimate nonfiction, and I'm going to talk about The Making of The Empire Strikes Back by J.W. Rensler. This is a big coffee table book. They made one for each of the 3 original films. And they made one for the prequels too. But it's an incredible account of walking through the process of making The Empire Strikes Back from when Star Wars A New Hope is released until they start planning for Return of the Jedi. There are huge sequences where Han Solo is talking with the director, Irving Kershner, to map out the I Love You, I Know sequence and why Harrison Ford thinks it's so important and how they come to the decision of I Love You, I Know. There's a lot of stuff about Carrie Fisher and her struggles on set and just kind of trying to figure out her place in the world based on becoming this international icon overnight. How they do the effects, George Lucas's involvement. It's just absolutely incredible, fascinating. It's just a very captivating read. And I kind of decided I'm going to read it every single summer because it's just that good. It really is fantastic.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I know you've talked about that somewhere before, probably on the podcast, as where I've heard you talk about that maybe, or just in conversations. But yeah, such a cool book. Would you, though, tell us just a little bit about the book that you wrote, the Star Wars book, which I see right over your, I believe that's your right shoulder. Tell us a little bit about your experience of working on that with Cole Horton, who also wrote the book that Kaylee talked about, and Pablo Hidalgo. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Kaylee mentioned Cole earlier. So Cole Horton is a longtime Star Wars author, and Pablo Hidalgo has been working at Lucasfilm for 25 years. He's a senior storytelling executive over there. And in January of 2020, I was asked by Disney and DK and Lucasfilm to co-write the Star Wars book, which is a series of curated essays which goes through the history of the galaxy, characters, the Force, how it all works. I've been talking about the fact this is more of how it works and why it works, not the what. The what is just the cold hard facts. This is much more exploratory with all the essays and much more in-depth analysis, which is much more up my wheelhouse. And it was an absolute pleasure and a delight to read, to talk about, to write, to share with people. And it's great. I mean, it's similar to what Rebecca mentioned with her encyclopedia, but it just goes much more in depth. And it's great because not only does the movies, but comics and the animated stuff and everything on Disney Plus and the novels, it really goes very, very in depth. And I feel like it's kind of, I mean, I am biased, but even if I didn't co-write it, I would feel like it is an essential read if you're a Star Wars fan, because it really does go very in depth to a lot of stuff that people have really wondered about.
It most certainly does. And I know that I've seen online on the social media platforms that people go, like after watching an episode of The Mandalorian, they'll go to the Star Wars book to get more information on something that was mentioned, or, you know, just to get to whet their appetite of deeper knowledge when it comes to the Star Wars galaxy. So it has been an absolute treat to have you on, as well as everyone else who's joined us here today. Want to also mention that we have other videos in this at-home Steam into Star Wars video series. We talk about children's books, young adult literature, the adult Star Wars books, as well as our nonfiction books here in this video. So be sure to check those videos out as well. Everyone here joins us in some other of those other videos. So join us with those. You can also follow the WCHS library at WCHS_308 library. And want to just say thank you to all of you for joining us here. Will, Rebecca, Clara, Mr. Zehr, Kaylee, thank you so much for sharing with us your favorite nonfiction book. And we will see you in the next video. Thank you. Have a great day.